This episode is sponsored by my Patreon, because I have one. You too can support on Patreon to keep this podcast going and every other video I do. If you get a $5 membership or up, you can get into the members only Discord. Ooh, great, cool. Okay, on with the episode.
Great. Oh my God, it's so strange that we've never actually spoken before.
I know we talked so much, but never with our mouths, only our fingers. Are you busy right now with because you're doing your channel and doing pre-production stuff on the movie, right?
Yeah, right this second, it's a little bit quieter just because we're going into Thanksgiving week and gotta be careful with what I do say here, but we are on a good path. We're like in between conversation with A24, so we're just kind of waiting to hear some stuff from them, and then we'll go back, and it's a back and forth right now. But things are looking very positive, and we are on a good track. I can't really say more beyond that.
Yeah,
But
understandable.
as far as timeline goes,
Whenever I'm developing something or working with a studio, it from the week before Thanksgiving until a week after New Year's, there's like nothing. Like everyone like checks out super early. But then every once in a while you get like some people that'll like, you get a couple of notes back. But for the most part, it was always frustrating because I always like wanted to keep going, keep working. So are you experiencing anything like that with them where you're like
I think
waiting and waiting?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm used to the waiting given the strikes of this year. It's sort of, I mean, I was able to use that to work on the newest series I've been doing, The Oldest View.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Well, I'll get into that after.
Yeah, that took up. I was doing like 16-hour days for like 2 months straight. And
Oh man.
man, I was dying over that project. But I'm glad I'm done with the third part. So
Okay.
there might be more in the future. But
Yeah, I was gonna ask
right
a little
now,
bit more. Is that it for now?
I want to. Yeah, I've got plans for more. It's an incomplete project currently, and
Yep.
I want to finish it. But right now, my focus needs to be on the Backrooms film. Which,
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, because when you were putting those up, I was like, oh wow, he's like going hard. He's still putting these videos up and working on the script. And one thing that I didn't like when I would ever get like a script order from a network and we'd write for like a year. And it was so hard to like do anything else. And people would be like, where are the videos? Where are the videos? But I couldn't. It was like I was working full time writing. And then the worst part was like no one ever got to see it because there were always like TV pilots. And then if it didn't go to pilot and you didn't shoot it, no one ever heard what you did for the year. And you don't get to show anyone. And it was always like such a waste, I felt, to like spend so much time making something that never saw the light of day. And then I also didn't get to put anything on the internet to keep myself satisfied. So it was nice to see you were still doing stuff because I was wondering if you were going to be like deep in that script and just disappear for a while. But
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I'm not the one writing the script. That would be Roberto.
okay.
I am supervising the script because it's just it's still my story. It's very important that it maintains continuity with everything else in the series, and I like all my choices to be deliberate. So it's a collaborative process.
Well, that's good. That's nice. It's actually kind of I like to write, but I don't want to write. I write because I have to, and also same with directing. I don't want to do any. I just want to show up and perform. That's always like what I've wanted to do. So I wonder, is that nice for you to like not have to do because coming from some, you've done everything from the big ground up.
Yeah.
Is it nice to not
it's
do
been
that?
a big change. I like to be in. Yeah, I like the good parts of it. So I mean, I like having full creative control of a project, but I don't like having to spend several months writing the words that the characters have to say because I'm a horribly slow writer because I overthink every single letter I put on the page. So I've been working on that like on the side. Like when I feel up to it, I'll just write a little screenplay or a scene or something.
That's cool.
Generally, my track record is that I'm a bit of a slow writer. So
Okay.
I am getting better. I am finding like because I have a problem, or maybe it's not a problem. I don't know. But my brain is hardwired to like go for the final result straight away. Like I'm not a very draft minded person. So if something isn't like perfect on the first go, I'll just like I don't move on until I feel like I'm ready to leave it behind forever and like, okay, this is good. This will be how it shows up in the final version.
Yeah.
And like rather than doing like a shitty pass and then a slightly better pass and then like I just never really do that, which I'm sure I'll have to. I'm gonna have to adapt a little bit now that I'm working with others. But
That's something I do is I will give up. I'll be like, well, I'm annoyed at myself for taking this long and I can't decide. And then I get frustrated with my indecision and then I just go, it's done. And I throw it up. I can't get stuck in the analysis paralysis. So I have to like just move on. My brother is like you, more like you though. He's writing. He has like 5 movies he's written in the past 2 years, and he's writing 2 at the same time right now. And he just goes back and forth. He's talking to me all day. He's like, I don't know if she should do this or if she should do this. And I'm like, Seth, you've been talking about this for 5 months. He still can't. And like at this point, I would be like, just pick one and go on. Like, gotta make it. But I guess
Yeah.
that's the way a lot of people are. I'm sure, like you, just
yeah,
you want it to be-
indecision is a killer.
yeah,
But
it's a perfectionist aspect, like personality, probably. I mean,
yeah,
your stuff looks like
And,
it is
like-
made by a perfectionist, so I guess that kind of
I
makes
appreciate
sense.
that. I guess it pays off. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, Blender is a magic tool that I still don't understand. But
Well, it looks like you got a good handle on it so far. What you have
so
made.
yeah, it works for me. I've kind of stopped learning and just kind of plateaued with the knowledge I have. But
Yeah.
it works.
Nice. Well, I should do an intro here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode
Hello.
of Conversations with You. This is my guest, Kane
I'm you.
Pixels. Should we call you Kane Pixels or your real name? Have you been doxxed?
Just Kane,
Is that
just Kane.
okay? Just Kane. Just Kane.
Oh yeah, I've been doxxed.
Okay. I guess your name, as I say, is your name out there on the internet? Because I knew
Oh,
it.
yeah.
But I don't know if I knew your name from emails or something we were sending. Or
No, I list Kane Parsons is like
Okay,
the
it
name
is
I
on your
attach to
channel,
most of
right?
My
Yes.
non-YouTube stuff.
Okay.
Because the name Kane Pixels was created by my dad, like when I was 9, and I wanted a Minecraft account.
Oh, that's
Or,
I
like, when I was
love
younger, I don't
knowing
know.
this backstory.
He made an email for me just because it was like, Dad, I want an email so I can like download these mods or something, and that was just the name he came up with, and
That's awesome.
it just kind of stuck, and I just haven't changed it, and now it feels too big to change.
Yeah,
So-
you're so known as Kane Pixels now.
Generally, I'm not a huge fan of Pixels or Parsons. Like in a perfect world, it would just be Kane. But
yeah, okay.
We'll have to see. I'm flexible.
Nice. Well, both work, I feel, or all 3 work. Honestly, they're
Yeah,
if you-
interchangeable.
it's cool. I always like when someone takes like one word and they make that like you become known for that single word, like Madonna. You know, it's like
Yeah, but the WWE guy, he's got Kane, so I've got
well, there is
I've gotta
Kane the
overtake him.
wrestler. Yes. I think, but he's like, he doesn't wrestle anymore, and younger people don't really know about him. So I think you can replace him and become the new Kane.
I'm going for number 1. Google.
You gotta
search
do it.
result.
That was a goal of mine when I started the dad thing, was to have it.
Yeah.
I actually wondered, I was like, oh, is it bad to go with dad? Because when you Google it, I always think when you Google it, will you find it? And I was Googling dad before I made the dad channel, and it was just like random pictures of like photo stock, like cliche dads, And eventually it popped. I don't know if it still does, but for a while, it's like the top thing that popped up if you search dad on Google. It was like my face.
Yeah, I remember checking that because, I mean, I don't. I'll have time to nerd out about it just when we're talking here throughout this interview. But like, I was super like absurdly obsessed with the dad series.
Oh, amazing.
Back in,
Well, thank
in
you.
2019, like I mean this with no exaggeration, there have been very few projects that have legitimately, like, how do I want to say this? I don't know. It like completely shaped the period of time that I was in for me. Like,
Oh, wow.
like when I think back to June through, or I guess May through August of 2019, like the first thing my brain goes to is your series.
Oh my
And,
gosh, that's crazy.
Like that entire portion of time, and like that series, I've studied it pretty intensely. Just and we don't need to get into all of this because
no, keep it coming. I
to.
love it.
But like
No, just kidding.
and you saw obviously I did my own spin-off series because I was again so
Yeah,
into certain
that was-
elements of it.
That blew my mind. When I first like interacted with you, you had sent me that little video. It was like, oh hey, I was messing around and I made this
yeah.
thing, and I was like, holy crap, this is like really good. So for the audience listening, if you guys don't know, Kane does visual effects, and he has a series called the Backrooms. He also did Attack on Titan. And would you say IRL? Is that what it was?
I called it historical footage. That
Historical
was like the
footage.
title format
That's right.
I used, but it was just like old war footage.
Yeah, that stuff was crazy too. That stuff was like getting the biggest numbers like of anything I'd ever seen. That was wild.
The Attack on Titan fan base is huge. Yeah.
I still haven't watched that. I need to watch it. But anyway, Kane does visual effects, and Kane made this video where it was like going through the levels of the facility, which is where Dad lives in Town USA, and it was just like a camera moving up through floors, seeing all these different floors, and it looked so good. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, well, hey, actually, if you're able to do that, would you want to add a couple more floors? And I remember I sent him a couple of images like of some stuff I thought would be neat to go through. So basically, you just like then went crazy. The video that you had sent, like it was like such a bigger ordeal with more floors, and then it zoomed out of an air duct, and it basically shows how big this facility is. And in the facility, I always thought it was cool to have one floor be like an entire town with like an atmosphere and sky and clouds and buildings and everything. And then above the sky, like in Truman Show, as if you're in like this dome or bubble, there's another floor right above that you just can't see because it's so far away. So Kane made this, and it blew my mind. And I was like, who the heck is this person? And then I found out you were like a teenager. I think you were 16 at the time, or maybe 15.
I was 14.
14, yeah.
Yeah,
You were
14.
you were young, and there was this another person I had worked with in the past named Joey VFX, who
I know him, yeah.
is another legend in my opinion. He was 14 or 15 when he made the first thing for me. He made my head blow up for a video where I was reviewing Mad Max Fury Road. And I was like, hey, can anyone make my head blow up? And he wrote to me, and I saw his stuff. I was like, how old are you? And he was 15. I think he just turned 15 at the time. And I was like, how is this kid so good? So he was the person that blew me away. And then when your stuff came along, I was like, okay, here we go. Another 15-year-old genius. How the heck are these people doing this? So yeah, that video blew my mind. And then I started watching your channel, and I saw the stuff you're doing. I was like, I don't understand how someone can be so good at something at so young. When I was 14 or 15, I was literally just like farting on my friends and like having them fart back on me. Like that's what I was doing with my time. We were joking and farting and being disgusting humans, and I didn't do anything creative. Well, that's a lie. I did have a video tech show. I aired a sketch comedy show on cable access at 14, but it was like literally us just farting on camera and being idiots. And then now in 2023, we have these children who are like making the greatest cinematic experiences ever. So that's how I discovered Kane. And as now we all know, Kane has blown up and made amazing things, the Backrooms, and now has a movie that's in development with A24, which is like well deserved.
That's insane. I still can't believe it.
I swear I must have said to you, if I didn't say it to you, I said to everyone I knew. I feel I must have sent you a message. It was like, dude, you're gonna be making like huge movies like very soon. It was just obvious. Like some people are like, okay, this person's made for this.
Yeah, I remember you said that a while back, like before any of this happened, and I appreciated it then. I appreciate it now, and
yeah,
like,
well, I'm
it's
glad it's happening. It's amazing, so well deserved. So that's everyone who's listening. That's the whole backstory. But yeah, Kane, I'm very intrigued by you, and a big fan. So for you to say that you're a fan of Dad is it's humbling, and it's an honor to hear that. So.
If I can go back to the first, totally, like if I can go back to the Town USA video I did, the first one.
Yeah, and what was that series? That series was called something.
No. That was Project.
Oh, the one.
209,
yes.
But like the little thing I did for your series. Whatever you want to call it, the facility.
The facility. Yeah. It ended up being the facility episode. If anyone wants to look it up, just on the Dad channel, search the facility, and it's that episode is what Kane made.
Yeah, I'm aware I'm being very bold with my wording here, both with what I said a moment ago and with this. But I think, yet again, that project was probably the most fun I've ever had in Blender.
Wow.
And it was cool. Because I started learning Blender right around that time. So that was like my first actual project in Blender I had ever done.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, I had done little like 2-second like test videos before. Mm-hmm. And that's one of those was the thing I sent you.
Oh, nice.
But I really only picked it up in February of 2020 and then was practicing it throughout lockdown.
About 3 years ago. So during Corona is when you blossomed into the video.
Corona, yeah, the pandemic was a shitty time for the world, but like probably my favorite time so far.
Well, it's funny you say that because I
enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. I miss the pandemic. It was, some might say it was when I jumped the shark as Dad, but for me, it was in my life. It was a very fun time because I was streaming on YouTube on Dad's gaming channel as Dad. and it was like I have nostalgia for it because I had such fun times
Yeah.
like playing games, talking to people, chatting to people. So yeah, it was a very great time for me too. And I also finished the finale. I shot an hour and a half finale episode of the Dad series during the pandemic. So it was like my most ambitious thing I'd ever filmed. Was
Oh yeah,
during
I
the
forgot
pandemic.
that I edited that. I
Oh
did
yeah,
work
and you
for that as
did,
well.
and you did the drones and stuff. What did you do? There's a couple people.
I loved the shed, which I
Oh
still
yeah, you
have
did the
notes about.
shed. Yeah.
I wish I could have done that better. But
Oh,
I love the
actually, I have
drone
might have to
finale.
talk to you at some point because there is a shed thing I'll need to do. So maybe at some point I could have you do a quick little because the shed never got its resolution, and I need to show that at some point. So maybe someday, if you have time, I can get
Well,
you can do the shed that you loved that or you wanted to. Were you saying you didn't like what you did with the shed?
I don't remember. I just remember some of like the masking was weird on it. I don't know. I
Oh,
don't fully
okay.
remember the details. I just remember
Okay,
being a
okay.
little unsatisfied with my end result. But the drones I loved, like the spotlight on the side of the building was.
Yeah, that was all great.
I still love that.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Kane, if you guys didn't know, Kane did a lot of FX on the Dad series, as well as Joey VFX, and I must mention Brielle Garcia, another legend who's done effects for me forever, starting back on like my old Adult Swim commercials and stuff. So these three humans have like done all the effects on like all my videos ever. So yeah, that was awesome having you on that. And then that's when you were making the Backrooms then too, right? During because I remember you said you were working on a project, but it was a
was
movie I think you were making, wasn't it? Didn't you make like a film or you were
yeah.
editing something?
Let me think for a moment. So that was December of 2020 that you put out the finale, right? Yeah, that would have been
Yeah,
when
I
I
think
was.
so.
Yeah, so I was editing that, and then Backrooms I started in November of 2021. So it would have been Attack on Titan that I was starting up right around the time that I finished the finale episode. That was beginning of 2021.
Okay.
And then that ran its course throughout like the early winter, I mean late winter, spring of 2021. Then summer, I was working on a film, decided to scrap it eventually because I felt like it was just going to be too hard to get off the ground.
Oh, okay.
And I recycled certain elements into other projects. And then in like literally on Thanksgiving Day, I decided to try to make a VFX test of like the Backrooms image that I had known for a couple of years and had been like the original concept I was interested in. It didn't really have much of an online presence at that point. I mean, people knew of it. Which
Yeah, it was
is
just
why
like that
was
one
able to
picture with the yellow
blow
wallpaper,
up so
right?
easily. Yeah, it had. I was aware that it had a some sort of presence online. I didn't know it had like structured communities, like a wiki and whatnot. I wasn't familiar with that, and
Yep.
I might have been, but it just felt kind of inconsequential to me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like it's a concept, and then people can interpret it however they like, and so that's what I did. I just wanted to try to remake it in a 3D VHS camcorder style. Did that, and as I was making that short over the course of like December, I realized I could merge it with another story that I had in mind for a few years, and that's where you see all the, if you're familiar with the series at all, the async stuff, all of the, like what I would consider the real heart of the story, all of the human elements.
Yeah.
I merged that with the Backrooms, and then the Backrooms in my mind is more of just a, like it's the tonal packaging for this whole thing, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily the point of my series. It's more of just like the point of the story hasn't changed. I just swapped one thing out for the complex or the Backrooms, and so I was able to merge those two things. So that's gone well, and that sort of took over all of 2022. That's when I started getting all those meetings, sort of introduction to the broader film world. And then I mean we sort of had a thing going with A24 for a bit, and then it was announced in February of this year. Then I haven't touched Backroom since then. So I mean I've touched it behind the scenes. Like there's plenty of stuff I've been building, but
And you said it will be a film, like you'll film humans, right? Will it have some
Yes,
effects?
it
I'm
won't-
guessing.
yeah, like set extensions. I mean, it's almost impossible to have a film without a
Yeah.
certain level of FX work nowadays. But
Yep. And
yeah, I mean, whatever it dictates. It won't be first person. It won't be through the lens of a handy cam or anything like that, because that's just not what the story dictates. But
yeah, that was actually what I wondered when I first saw the article. I was wondering, oh, are they gonna have Kane like in his bedroom just making this series in Blender, or
that could be for other things.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, you could. I mean, that definitely could be a movie. I mean, people have watched over 2 hours worth of your story, so you have multiple movies on YouTube already. But I think it's cool. I'm excited to hear that it's like a live action film. I think that's fun. Do you know what kind of camera you want to shoot on, or how you want it to look? It wouldn't be film, would it?
Honestly, that's the sort of area where my expertise sort of fall through a little bit. I've never been overly concerned with the technicals there, which I'll pick up. This will be an incredible learning experience, regardless of how it goes.
Yeah.
I know how I want things to look and feel, and I know how cameras work, and I know how lenses work, but the specifics of the different types of lenses, like all of these things, my brain encodes into a language that doesn't exist in real life, so I don't have words for it. I could do it if I was just by myself, just picking things up and putting it together. It makes sense in my head, but I don't know how to convert it into like communicative. Into like an actual language I can communicate to people.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm not like a camera person. I shoot everything I do. I have a red and a black magic, but like I'm really bad at it, I would say. Nice. I just force myself to like figure it out. It's just it never looks good. The shutter is always off, or ISO and all that. I can't expose things. So I don't know cameras very well either. I just know what ones can look like when someone who knows how to use it uses it. And knowing you like sort of like a lot of the stuff you've done has sort of a retro look to it. So I wasn't sure if maybe film was something you'd be interested in, because film has like that grain to it and can look sort of.
Yeah, I found that I can emulate it on digital cameras fairly well. So I might want to do film. I might fight for that, but I doubt.
It's so much more expensive on the shoot. Too.
Yeah,
like
I don't think I'll be able to
say
justify
no.
that.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting that, and I think I can probably just do capture a similar feel in post.
Yeah.
But currently, I use the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro.
Oh, that's cool. That's what I have as well.
Oh, nice.
Well, I've been using
I love that thing.
I don't know if you've seen the Man series I started doing. It's just this guy in a room. That is all done on the Blackmagic. So the Blackmagic Pocket, yeah.
Yeah, and then recently I got the FX3, which is I had never tried Sony cameras before, but I'm messing with that a bit right now. I've been doing some like color grading tests with it. Have had to get actually only one new lens, because obviously my Canon and Sigma lenses won't click with it. But I'm trying to build out a little rig for that I can like a solo filmmaking rig. So that's kind of what I'm used to. So I don't know. I have ideas of what I can do with that, even though I've got these bigger things going on. Because I've got a lot of passion projects that I feel like it'll either be impossible to get through the studio system at this point in time, or it would take so long that I wouldn't even enjoy it by the time I get to make it.
Yeah, so just go do it.
So
and
I got a number of because I've got a number of ideas that they work to be released in smaller in a much more smaller, obscure manner online, like through burner accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah. I actually
that's just not something you can easily pitch to a company.
Oh yeah, not at all. So you're saying you have other channels for projects you'll have pop up?
I might.
That you won't.
I might.
Okay, I know what you're doing, and I love it, because I actually this brings me to something I wanted to bring up. I had started this project called Uli, which was
I remember I did on that.
I was just gonna tell everyone. So I made this channel. A lot of the hardcore fans of mine know, and Kane here designed and made the room that Uli will live in. So Kane made this awesome room that looks like a real room with like a bed in it, and it was all in Blender. And then Brielle Garcia made Uli, and I ended up using Uli in the end of the Dad Act 4 finale, like the full season 1 finale. But it was supposed to be like a side channel where no one knew who did it, and it was like, what is this thing? And I have a couple of other of those things going on right now that no one knows about. So to hear that you have that makes me want to start digging and looking and see what I can find. Is there anything that I could maybe look for, or would you not say anything? No. It's not out yet.
Not primed yet.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I unfortunately can't say anything. It'll be compromising to the projects.
Well, has anyone heard you say this at all before publicly? Any of what you're saying?
A little bit, but I don't think it'll matter, because some will be obvious it's me, and then some ideally, and I would
because you have sort of a trademark.
No one will ever know it's me. Even like I have one like that is more of a long game type thing. But I enjoy that kind of media, and yeah, I won't say more on that.
Hey, how about a commercial break? And oh boy, do we have an exciting sponsor for this episode. It's you. Once you subscribe to my Patreon for the low price of whatever the heck you want. It doesn't matter. $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. If you do $5, then you can get into the members only Discord and play Minecraft with us and hang out and chill. That sounds nice, huh? Support all the videos and all the channels. I'll take anything. Thanks. Bye.
I relate to a lot of your stuff cinematically because it looks like the movies I like. I feel like your stuff is like it's almost influenced from like slow. I don't even know how to describe it. I'm so bad with words, but like just such the visuals remind me of like sci-fi films from the 70s and the sounds and the just the room tone of like an air conditioner that's like off in the distance or like some vent or something that's blowing wind, like, and just to be able to sit and hang in a moment in a shot for a long time isn't something that like young people watch now. Everything's so fast and cutty. Your stuff reminds me of like, you know, old sci-fi and just old cinema in general with like wide, I don't know, just cinematically,
that means a lot.
It's awesome. It's exactly what I like to watch. And the music as well. And you make the music, and that I relate to that with the Dad series. I made all the music, and I wanted it to be very simple and calm and moody. And when I saw your stuff, I was like, this is like right up my alley. It reminded me of It Follows. You ever seen It Follows? That movie?
I haven't seen It Follows.
Oh my God, you would love it.
But
It's so good.
Here's what I'm gonna say. And
Yeah.
I've said this before, but I watch very few movies. Like I watch almost pretty much everything I watch is like nonfiction. Like, and I watch like maybe one movie a month at most. It feels like I'm the sort of person who, if I like something, I'll watch it like 5 to 10 times.
Yeah.
Instead of watching new things.
Do you have a favorite movie that you've seen?
Favorite movie right now? I'm more of a series guy.
Okay.
But as far as movies go, I would say my favorites would probably be 1 Hour Photo.
Oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies. I want to play a character like him so bad. A bad guy that doesn't seem bad. Like he's so threatening and so scary, and he doesn't act like a cliche bad guy or scary guy. He's just creepy. And I love that. That movie is so up my alley. That's like a dream role for me. Wow.
Okay, well, if I get there, I'll hit you up for that.
Yes, please. Do a remake.
Hope this goes without saying. I would love to get you in something at some point.
Well, thank you. I'm honored to hear that. Yeah, it's honestly just nice to know you even would want me. So I'm down and to do anything and everything. But yeah, I know how things go, and you know, studio is weighing in on things.
Studio,
so.
yeah, but
even just one of
where
your personal projects.
I want
or
more
something.
autonomy than that.
Yeah, well,
yeah.
Hopefully you can have some pull there. But yeah, even if it's like if you're just shooting something for yourself, I'd be down to do whatever.
Totally.
I'm a huge fan. So.
Yeah, 1 Hour Photo, and then Truman Show, and then
another one of my favorites. Yeah.
Nightcrawler. That one doesn't.
Oh my God, Nightcrawler is one of the best movies. Literally every movie you're saying is like my top 10. I almost rewatched. I was about to click it the other night. I was about to rewatch it for like the 10th time, Nightcrawler, and I didn't do it. I forced myself to watch something different because I'll do the same thing. There's a movie called Duel. That's one of my favorite movies ever. It's on my top 3.
That's Spielberg, right?
Yeah, it's his very first movie made for TV. It's just awesome. It's like mostly silent because it's just him being chased by this car. I like doing stuff. I like when stuff is just there's not a lot of dialogue in a film, and you can just tell a story visually. Yeah, it's very simple. That and Moon. Moon's one of my top favorite films ever.
Don't know Moon.
Oh, you would love it. You would love it. It's it's one guy on a space station on the moon, and it's him.
What year?
Probably like 2009 or so. It's what's his name from Fight Club. Spacing on his name. But no, not. I don't know why I said Fight Club. It's not the guy from Fight Club. He looks like that guy. He's just another generic brown-haired guy. Oh gosh, Moon film.
Here's Moon.
Okay, it's Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell.
Duncan Jones directed it, and that's David Bowie's son. I'm pretty sure. And I think it's like the only movie he's done. Yeah, you gotta watch it. That one's good.
Looks neat.
And It
Like
Follows. I think you'd like It Follows. It's really good.
Yeah, I need to watch It Follows. Like I've got a bunch that I'm really excited to watch, but I've been excited to watch it for like the past year and a half.
Yeah.
And I like having things that I can go to if I ever. I don't know. I like refraining from actually going to the thing I want to do.
Yeah,
like just keeping it there in the like on hand at all times, but never actually watching it.
Understandable. You said you like series more, like watching.
Yeah, like my favorite would definitely be Mr. Robot at this time.
Oh yeah, so
I've
good.
watched that many times. And then I know that you are a fan of Severance.
Oh
Love
my
that.
God, dude, Severance. So I have a little bit of a gripe with Severance, and it's more just me being
Yeah.
sad at my position in Hollywood. That show is so good. I love it so much because it is exactly what I would like to do with the Dad
Yeah,
series.
I remember you saying.
Yeah, this is. I still think, but it does give me hope. I was also I just found out the girl what's her name? Brittle. The girl in the series.
Yeah, who plays Helly?
Yeah, she apparently my friend. Who I'm developing a little reality TV show right now with my friend who's like a reality TV producer, and he said he was her first kiss. I was like, what? That's crazy. I just found this out like 2 days ago. Anyway, side story. That show gives me hope that I want to pitch Dad as I haven't said this next sentence to anyone on the internet yet, but I pitched Dad in the past to some networks, and they all said it was too high concept. Even Adult Swim, Comedy Central, they're like, it's too high concept. Netflix said it was too high concept, but now I don't think it would be too high concept because, like, look at Severance. That is like, when you explain that show to someone, you're like, what the heck are you talking about? But then you watch it and it makes sense. And visually, aesthetically, the computers, the room, the office space is so much like the Dad series. I'm like, dang, dude, this guy went and did it. But now I'm feeling like, okay, I think I could pitch this. And the TV version I would like to sell to the networks wouldn't be called Dad. It would be called Town USA. And it would just be about this town with all this weird stuff going on. And it's a little more like broad. So it gives me hope that maybe something like that could happen. I just got to keep plugging away. But yeah, I love that show and hate that show. So I'm not surprised that you love it as well because it's right up your alley for what you make.
Totally want to go back to what you were just saying a moment ago, but just to wrap up this part of the conversation, any other shows I'm a fan of? Mindhunter's great. British series Utopia.
What's Mindhunter?
That's Fincher.
David Fincher?
Yeah.
Oh, is it like a TV show he did?
Like, yeah, criminal psychology, sort of investigating serial killers.
Well, that's cool.
It's it's really good. I definitely recommend it.
Nice.
2 seasons, but it needs more, but it's probably not going to happen, which is really sad. Same with Utopia, the British series. What else? If you haven't seen Utopia,
What's that about?
That is about how do I want to say it? It's about a conspiracy to sterilize the human race to quell overpopulation. But it's done in a very compelling way, but just the visuals alone and the soundscape, has one of the most unique presentations I've seen in really anything, and I draw a lot of inspiration from it. I think you would probably appreciate the style of it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's it's great.
Well, that's cool. I'll look that up. Have you ever heard the theory that there's been many iterations of humans on the planet, but like with natural disasters, it wipes us out, and then we regrow out of the dirt again, and then we're like the 4th generation technically of humans. They say.
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. I'm not a huge subscriber to that theory.
I'm just fascinated by all that stuff.
I like the idea, and like one of the ideas in the oldest view. Not to get off track there, but like it's.
Can you break that down
for that idea?
How would you sell the oldest view, the newest series on your channel, that without giving away too much?
I wouldn't.
Would you rather just not say anything?
I knew up front that it wasn't a series that I would really easily be able to sell because it's such a niche concept and such a hyper specific personal project. Really, it's not.
Is it connected at all to the Backrooms?
No, not at all. And have you watched it? Or
I did, but so the setting made me wonder because it was a mall. I didn't know if it was like, okay, is this supposed to be like a side story type thing, like another area or another building, wonder. Maybe?
But
is it just a setting that you like the visual space? Is that why it's in the mall?
No, the mall and the giant are both real. In real life, in the real world, the mall is a 1-for-1 replica of the Valley View Center in Dallas, Texas, which was demolished in May of this year, finally, after like 5 years of slow demolition and fighting with the city. And in this mall, this project started from finding a photo of this rolling giant statue in a mall with no context. It was a very obscure post I found on Reddit a couple years back.
Oh, wow.
Saved it. Then, while working on Backrooms last year, I came back into contact with that photo, wanted to figure out what it was because, unlike Backrooms, it had no online presence. It didn't have anything. Like, no one called it the rolling giant, or like there was nothing for it. So I wanted to figure out what this thing was. Did a bunch of reverse image searching, found the origin of the image, found the mall it was taken in, and myself, and then I got some friends on board over Discord, and we would just spend like hours and hours each weekend, like just combing through old Facebook pages, Instagram, wherever.
Wow.
Through location tags for this mall to try to find more photos of this really uncanny statue. And through that, we were able to piece together, or I mean, I was going after the more cultural context elements while I think, let me be specific with my wording here. I mean, we were able to piece together the context fairly quickly. It is a statue based on Julien Reverchon, a French botanist who moved to Dallas in the 1800s to be a part of the utopian socialist colony La Réunion, which fell apart within like 3 years. And I won't info dump too much because there's a lot of stuff there, and it's
that's interesting.
There's a lot of cultural parallels throughout between that point in time, Julian's time, and present day with the demolition of the mall and the construction of the new Dallas Midtown industrial park sort of residential space that they're looking to put in.
So it's like history repeats itself in a way.
In a sense, and I again, I don't want to explain the thematic elements here too much. I totally could, but I one day I will.
Okay.
But I want to leave it unsaid for a little while.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's
at least until
it's
the project's
thought provoking for sure. Watching it, and you shot the footage up on the hill and stuff, right, in the tree.
Yeah, that's real. Everything else is CG.
Okay, I was like pausing and looking and zooming. I was like, is this real? Did he get in a mall? That one was crazy. And you didn't do the same effect to it like the VHS sort of,
No, I was going for a mobile phone.
It looked real. I was like, he got in a mall. Where did he get this mall? And it's funny because I actually, see this picture.
That's the original photo I found.
Oh, that's the original photo. Okay, that's
the one
real
that
because it
started
is
my
real.
obsession.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That thing is weird and creepy. First of all.
Yeah. We've got a bunch now. I've gotten into contact with the creator Kevin. Of this giant statue. Yeah. These were made for a parade of giants to commemorate or to celebrate the opening of the Margaret Hunt Hill Bridge in Dallas in 2012. And around that time, the mall was sort of going under. The anchor stores were leaving, so they started just offering up studio space to local artists. And Kevin was one of those artists who moved in there with his Studio Obregon.
Is this Kevin loading with the red shirt and the drink?
No,
okay,
no.
Are there
any photos of Kevin here? I don't know. I've got a million photos. It's hard to sift through all of them, but
this thing is
basically
cool.
Yeah. So really, he went there, brought the giant with him, and it just kind of sat there for through 2012 through 2019 when we were able to confirm the giant was destroyed with a wing of the mall, because it was demolished over the span of a few years, and for a while we didn't know what happened to the giant. We just knew it sort of like was lost in this rotting mall, and that was very eerie thought because it's already eerie as is. And,
yeah.
I think it's changed now that like I've sort of blown the lid off this. Yeah, I think now people looking into this will feel a bit differently. Like it was very compelling when I was investigating it, just because there was no information.
You're like, what is this weird thing? You built it up in your head almost and it became a legendary in your own mind.
Oh yeah, I would be hallucinating him at night and stuff, and like. But now you can look up the rolling giant and you have videos explaining it with like 1 million views
wow. And are people doing that because of your series?
Yeah.
You brought it to attention and made people intrigued by it now.
And that's part of the project. Like the idea is the resurgence of.
So I wonder if maybe now that he's sort of a recognizable face, if he would come back.
It's we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, interesting. Okay, okay. I'll be waiting by. I'll be standing by.
It's a bit of a meta project. Like the existence of the videos I've put out are
Yeah, this is like
themselves part of the story.
this is like we're living through the experience in a way.
Yeah, I told my fans that we're in part 4 right now.
That's awesome. This is cool. I gotta ask you. So, did you ever go to the mall?
I've never been to the mall.
I was gonna say, I bet you he's never been to the mall because you're young and malls don't really exist anymore. And I know the area you're in, and I was trying to think of like malls in that area.
Oh, I've
Are
been
there?
to malls. I haven't been to this mall.
Oh, okay. But you have been to malls then, in
Yeah,
general.
but not. But they're all. I've never experienced a live mall because like every mall in my time is.
It's like
Actually,
dead, kind of.
I guess I can think of a few instances where there have been malls with life, but for the most part, I'm more accustomed to dead malls.
Okay, yeah, because I say as a young person where the malls aren't very popular anymore, like I went to the mall like crazy in the '90s when I was like in middle school and high school. That's like all we did was just hang out at the mall. And there's actually a mall here in LA that I go to quite often. It's very busy, which is nice because it means that they're not all dead. But like most people, I would say nowadays don't go to malls or haven't even been to malls. But it seems like a theme in your stuff, like in the Backrooms has like mall aesthetic and just big open expanses and empty rooms. That's like a thing that I've been fascinated. That's like why the Dad series is in this big empty room. It's just kind of like it's creepy and eerie, and it seems that you were a fan of that as well. And I was thinking maybe he's a fan of malls, but I guess maybe just visually. But you don't really have a mall experience or past or history connected to it, do you?
Yeah, I think. Let me think.
Oh wow, this is a cool picture. The wide one.
Oh yeah, we just found that one
walking.
recently.
Oh,
we
wow.
we thought we had found most of them a couple months back. Like honestly, because my friends and I had mined for most of them by like April.
Yeah.
But then since the video came out, we've sort of mobilized much of my community to do more digging. So we've been finding a bunch of
that's
treasure
cool.
troves.
I'll throw these
So-
images on the video for these
Oh, yeah,
episodes.
please do.
I like to show like one long shot of something, and for this one, given the mall subject actually in the back rooms and the Giants' old home of being a mall, I was thinking I could go to a mall and film walking around in like an old dead mall, and I was actually just in this like little test pilot for this woman that used to work for Comedy Central shot this show that I was just in, and she's going to be pitching it, and she went and rented a dead mall for a lot of the show, and I was like, oh, I
Nice.
should just go to this dead mall. They're going to demolish it next year. But she spent $7,000 for 5 hours to get in there
Oh my
to
God.
shoot, and I was like, "Oh my God, lady! Like, I'm not going to do that for this episode, so I don't think I will be going
Worth
to a
it.
dead mall. I mean, maybe this one episode, maybe if my Patreon goes through the roof, I'll do it. But I don't think that will
I think
happen.
it would.
But I
It'd be
want to
easier
get
just to spend like 6 months remodeling it in Blender.
Yeah, honestly, I think about learning Blender so I can do some stuff because I'm like, I can't get certain shots physically. I'm like, how could I make this? And then seeing stuff like what you do, I'm like, it looks like he's in a room in all of these videos.
I
Like,
promise you it's possible. I promise you it's possible.
I
And
should
it'll feel
learn it.
impossible initially, but just if you are able to have a specific thing you want to make with it. It can be small. Maybe don't put a ton of weight on this project, but a specific thing you want to make, and you're not going to stop trying to get that specific thing right. You can cut as many corners as you want, but just do everything you can to use Blender to make this one specific thing look satisfactory. And that's how I've always learned. I'm a project-based learner, and I'll just kind of throw stuff together. Like my optimization is terrible even today. Like
Yeah.
it's not the way I work isn't very professional in Blender, but it gets the job done.
yeah,
And
that's
I'll
how I
just
am with
kind of-
Premiere. I don't edit the way a professional editor would. I have my own like methods and steps that I take, which are backwards. But it's like my workflow is smooth with me that it's fast that way. But I know it's definitely not the best. So
Yeah,
but
but
yeah, you learn it your
I-
way.
If you ever look to, I'm happy to point you in the direction of some resources I use for textures and stuff because there's a lot of affordable stuff out there.
Okay.
It's
Yeah, because there's some stuff
Yeah,
I'd like to
it's
do.
doable.
I wanted the Dad series sort of like wrapped up this first little season, if you will. And I wanted to make, I have this whole other thing I want to do, this whole other story I want to tell. And I'm thinking, it costs me like almost $1,500 for one day in the studio. And I can only shoot like 1 to 2 videos in that time. It's like hard because I bring like, the lights and the cameras and everything. It's just like, and the actors, and it's a pain in the neck. And I'm like, I should just do this. Put Dad like in Blender. I could film myself in front of a green screen or something, and I could probably do so much more faster. But that seems it's like it's easier for me to go and physically film it mentally than sitting
Yeah,
down
I
and
feel
learning a
like
program.
I don't know the ins and outs of your methods here, and I would like to switch the conversation over to some dad stuff if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Or that and Project 209, just all that.
Oh yeah, 209 is a thing
I
that was. I think the deep fans saw that one.
Yeah, I totally meant to say this earlier, but when you were talking about like my stuff, like the ambience of my projects and like the wide shots lingering and stuff like that. Again, Project 209, I had a ton of fun doing that, and I mean I've loved everything I've done since, and there's definitely things I would change about Project 209, but specifically the third one and the Town USA video, I don't know, I just love the visual style I got there, the colors, the atmospheric sounds when I'm going through my version of the facility.
Yeah, yeah,
That
you
was
had
really
good,
fun.
you had
Like
good background sounds in that. I love just a perfect faint, and it's like is the right amount too. You can be too much or too little. You nailed it. Like I love that's the thing. I watch movies. And I'm like, ooh, they got good little vent sounds going on in this movie. Like just yeah, painting the scene audibly is something I love. Yeah, you're that was great. I was a big fan of that
Yeah.
little series.
And then hold on, what was I just about to say? It was right before that. It was to do with Dad.
Dad's talking about
Um,
season 2 possibly.
Oh, yeah. It was to do with like the studio space you used. In my mind, I feel like it wouldn't be too difficult to, because you go to actual filmmaker spaces,
Yeah.
like actual studios. I feel like, given the simplicity of the setup, it wouldn't be too hard to just find generic spaces to rent for like a day for much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as like the ceiling's high enough and it's big enough to get like a wide angle like you do,
Yeah.
like just throw a carpet down, set up two LED lights, and I feel like you could probably get a pretty similar setup for much cheaper.
Well, it's hard
And then
because
if
I
you
need the
wanna-
white cyc, right? That like goes up high enough you can get the lights in. So like if I went to a big room, say there's like an angle in the wall, like a crease or a corner that you can see, and someone walks by it, I had to like paint that out, and then also have the person when they walk by it paint it out. So it's hard to get like a big, wide, clean white space like that to
Yeah.
feel large and empty. Otherwise, I'd have to do a lot of FX work, and I don't wonder what would be more of a hassle: all the effects cleanup or just go into the studio that works.
Yeah, After Effects extensions can help quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I never
But-
got into any effects stuff. Like my effects at work is like very minimal in Premiere. I never started doing with After Effects. But
yeah,
you're
After
probably
Effects is
right.
much
I
easier
could do
to
it
work with.
cheaper and easier just in a random empty room somewhere.
Yeah,
So-
and just because I've looked at this stuff before and I've seen spaces that are, I believe, would be spacious enough to get that done
Yeah.
effectively. But anyway, let me think. Where do I want to go with this? I have insights I would like to offer on all of this.
Okay.
And so, because I've been obsessed with just the nature of the Dad project since like just for a while, like the whole thing, how it, and just studying like, because I've had to work around similar issues with like Backrooms and everything. Like when you have such a active audience, it's I totally appreciate that it's so much easier said than done to stick certain elements of a creative project. It's I appreciate the stress there.
Yeah.
I would say so I think everything from the beginning through I know the first two acts were I have tons of nostalgia for all that.
Yeah, that was all
Actually,
like
let
in
me-
the studio.
Let me pull it up right now so I can be more
Yeah.
precise with what I'm saying here.
3 got a little more involved with outside world and the outside like off planet like Kepler stuff with Andin, the astronaut guy, and then Act 4 was very different, and that was me just wanting to make stuff. And I had moved to Portland for a year, and it was me trying to like keep things coming out. And also just to keep the channel active, because like the channel, your audience disappears if you don't upload stuff. But like I wasn't at the studio, so it's like, what can I do here to fill in some holes in the story and explain some more stuff? That was Act 4, and it was a little bit different, and it was kind of just like bonus in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. So
yeah.
I'm looking at it now. The very first Dad video Dad uploaded is still to this day, I think, I don't want to say my favorite because it doesn't have a ton of substance, but it's still aesthetically my
I
favorite.
like that as well because it's mysterious. You're like, what is this? Who is this? It's visually pleasing. It's cinematically nice to look at, and obviously, it's got good music by Home.
I totally feel that. So I think I want to be useful with what I have to say.
Mm-hmm.
I feel as though, so I was around like 13 at the time when I was watching these. I think I was under the, I mean, I sort of was exposed to the series through, I think it was Nightmind,
Yeah.
or Inside of Mind, one of those two.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, like half the stuff I make so those videos can be made about my work. Like,
Yeah,
that's
isn't that
kind
the
of-
best? I love it when a
that. I
video
love
comes
that.
out. Apparently,
Like, that's-
there's a new Matt Pat one coming out on Dad, and I'm like eagerly awaiting this because he said he needs to watch the end, and then he's like, "Oh, we'll see what happens." I'm like, "All right, all right." Also, wait, can I ask you something? Something he said about your series.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, my high school picture on the telephone pole. I noticed that one, but was it my face as well on the guy on the wall?
No,
okay.
that was one of my friends I photo scanned, and people think it's the same person.
Because
but
a lot of people thought it was me, and I was like, I guess it kind of, because it was kind of like Jack Nicholson in a way, and I often get that reference. So I was like, oh, maybe that's my face. Okay, so that, I wasn't sure.
Nah, that's just one of my friends.
Okay, all good,
He
okay.
sat down in the hallway at school and was like, hey, sit down, I'm going to photo scan you and make you into a dead corpse.
Oh, that's cool. It looks great. It looked like a man. It didn't look like a kid to me. So whatever you did.
Yeah, I mean, I deformed it quite a bit.
Yeah, it looked awesome. Okay, so
Thank you.
you were saying Dad.
Yeah, I
uploaded.
was saying, yeah, Dad uploaded. I love that. And I think around this time, I was still learning about Nathan, like who you are. And in my eyes, my favorite thing about the project was how it tried to integrate itself with the real world, and it had this super meta element where you were a part of it and you weren't breaking character or anything like that. And like that was the biggest selling factor for me. And it felt super surreal because there's moments in here where it feels like the filmmaking is a little I mean this in a very positive way, but unrefined, I guess. And like the audio
raw.
is a little bit like, it feels very raw, and like the audio might clip with like the telepathic voiceover and stuff. But
As someone, that's just me
with
making
everything
stuff
in mind,
on my own. That's what
yeah,
that
but
is.
I, as an audience member, I fully accepted it as like a deliberate creative choice, and like I took to liking it. And like some of the voice actors, not your stuff, but other people's, I found is a little stilted in the way that you'll get when you get non-actors to record lines for something. And I tried to emulate that with Project 209.
Okay.
In places, because instead of it feeling like bad acting, it felt like, in my mind, like a sort of surreal, stilted way of talking that just fits the nature of this project.
Yeah.
And I think around the time I started realizing or started getting the feeling that some of these choices were less deliberate than I had initially thought a little later on. I think around the time when you started doing more live streams. And I again, this is not, I mean this all in good faith.
Oh no, it's fine. I don't take any
I totally
offense.
appreciate like want to interact with the community and everything, and that's fun and that's great, and I can't fault you for that.
Yeah. Well, so
but
here's the
as-
thing. I feel 100% what you're saying, and I would have preferred artistically to like never show up on stream, and it's like, who's this mysterious guy? Dad will never figure it out. He exists in the series. I never really wanted to do the live streams ultimately because I think it compromises the integrity of the series, and it kills sort of the character, and like it's not as mysterious anymore. But those live streams, I started doing them because that's like how I was making money to keep the series going. But if I was a fan like you, I wouldn't have wanted to see the live streams. I think it would have sort of taken me out of it. So that's kind of how I feel. So I don't disagree with it maybe harming the series in a way, or taking you out of it or others out of it. But, you know.
Totally. I mean, honestly, I feel like these appear to be pre-recorded, but I think they were either streamed or premiered at the time, so these felt like live events. But the dad dancing for like 1 hour, 4 hours.
Oh yeah, those are
the
pre-recorded.
Father's Day videos.
Yeah.
Those are, along with the dad uploaded video, those are my favorite memories of the series. Like when he's out and it's just like just an experience you get to like just have on, like just on the side while you're doing other stuff. Like
yeah.
I mean, it helps that I love Holmes music, so you get to hear a lot of that.
Same here. Yeah, those are like
especially,
basically
like resting state and everything.
the robot out doing things in the world, like it becoming human, is sort of what it's supposed to be. Like he's out
Yeah.
functioning in the real world, kind
That's
of.
the impression I get.
Yeah.
But I find the thing, if I'm really like pulling back into my memories here, into my mindset at the time, the idea that really got me into this was that Nathan is a real person, and there's this strange entity. I don't want to jump to aliens or anything, but there's this strange entity that's somehow either working parallel to YouTube, or is somehow in the YouTube networks, or is sort of masked behind this corporate facade.
Yep.
And it is somehow taking this Nathan filmmaker person and manipulating him via the food or something to record these videos. And we don't understand why, but it feels like there's enough there that I really want an explanation. And like it felt almost frightening in a way. Like it never felt like a comedy to me. It felt like any humorous elements in the videos felt more like artificial, like
attempts
these
to
videos
attempts
are,
to be to human, and attempts the comedy
like these
attempts to
videos,
cover
these
up what's really
videos,
going on.
yeah, it feels like the server or whatever YouTube entity this is making these videos, and hence like the occasional editing errors and stuff that can all be forgiven because these videos are being made by a fictional character in this series. And like the actual, if you played the whole thing straight, I think like that idea is very unnerving to me. And then I think it's just when more fantastical elements were introduced that I felt less compelled. But again, like I don't want to be tearing things down here.
No, not at all. It's nice to hear though, because I understand that and see that, because then it takes away your thoughts and your theories that you may have had, and it can kind of kill what you had maybe been building in your head. It's like, oh, okay, well, I guess if it's more about this, it's not what I thought, and it can kill motivation for.
Yeah, I think it was great as long as it was taking a less is more approach, and then I think it reached a point eventually where it did jump the shark, and too many visuals were being introduced, and it just became too literal, I guess, or too high concept. I mean, a high concept can work in the earlier medium, but it felt a little, I don't know, too grand for the previous videos.
Yes,
well, it didn't quite click.
Well, so here's, because it's the original stuff is so basic and so simple, and that's what's nice about it, and it's just mysterious. This is the problem I think with the doing something this type of series online is like it can't last forever, and the nature of YouTube is like it should be a thing you can do, like you do video game videos or you do unboxing videos. You can do a million of them. You can't do a series like this forever. I just was in this struggle of like, how do I keep it going? Makes sense.
Yeah, I totally feel all of that. The thing that makes it feel really special though, like I'm not willing to let that go. I still like feel nostalgia for that. I still go back to those videos and I get the same feelings. And like in my mind, it's not gone. It's still there.
Yeah.
As long as like I watch up to a point. And if you ever want to discuss for the further pitches or anything, like if I would love to be involved in some way if that's something you're interested in.
Oh, for sure. That'd be amazing.
Just in my own brainstorming time, I was like, how would I bring back, like how could Dad work again? Like how could
I would love
back
to
in
talk
such
to
a
you
way
about
that
this
people
then,
would
because
accept
this
that?
is something
Because
I've thought about.
And the conclusion
so much.
I came to is that like a sort of hard reset would be required. And
yes.
One of the hard things as a creator is like letting go of this canon and the story you've already set
Oh,
up.
not for this. Honestly, I'm ready to throw everything out the window because I just want to make stuff and I want it to be received well.
Oh, it's so exciting because the Project 209 series was just so fun to work on. Like the idea, the version of the idealized version of Town USA and everything I had in my head. Like I obviously I don't know your creative intention, and that's something I've had to struggle with Backrooms. Like I have a feeling for the work I make. I'm happy with the work I'm making, but I don't really know how the audience sees it. I know all the behind the scenes details, and that totally changes the feeling for me.
Yes, for
but
sure.
I get my audience. Like, so if I change something, like I saw this when I started introducing moments in the series that weren't found footage, that were shot on the black magic, and they were more cinematic in nature. There was resistance to that. People felt like it was betraying the style of the series, and it wasn't what made it special. So I totally.
But you can't
get
do the
that.
same thing the whole time. It's kind.
Yeah, but in my perspective, that I always had that in mind. Like I always.
Yeah.
wanted
Oh,
to
they
go
didn't
there, but
know.
my
Yeah. To them, it was a
my
new
audience
thing.
didn't know. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think like a hard reset of the Dad series, because really like it did well. It got the game theory video and the film theory videos.
Yeah,
but,
he
like,
did those. Everyone covered
realistically,
it.
There's still so many people who haven't heard of Dad, and
Oh, I know.
restarting it.
I've never
you could
hit
go
a million
further.
subs on anything I've ever done, and I always thought Dad at least deserved a million. I was like, if Dad gets a million,
think-
I'll be happy. I can die happy if he hits a million.
I
someday.
feel ridiculously confident that if Dad were to be reset and done slightly differently for a slightly longer period of time, without breaking down in any sort of way, I feel that it's a very doable milestone.
Oh, that's good to hear, and it's time for it
and
to
I
happen
would-
because I've sort of like put a bookend on it, where like after Matt makes this next video, I think it would be a good time to be like, okay, the main dude who covers these things is covering the end of Dad, and then how amazing would it be for like right after Dad comes back with this whole new thing, you know? So
Yeah, I think the other whatever, and we can. I'm sorry, I'm starting to get too. I'm like involving myself in this.
Oh
thing
no, it's
more
okay.
than
I
so
honestly like.
apologize for that.
I love because I feel like you get it like 100%. Like when you made that first video, I was like, oh, this guy just like understands my aesthetic, my visual. You've watched it since the beginning, and you helped me make it. And it's of all people,
appreciate
you are
it.
someone I would love to listen to. I didn't even mean to this whole conversation. I didn't necessarily want to like have to talk about work and art and what we do. I wasn't sure if we'd maybe just talk about like, you know, video games or family trips
Well, dude,
or something.
I've been wanting to talk about this stuff for years, man.
Okay,
Like,
well, I'm
this has just
glad.
been, like,
I'm fascinated
away
by
at me.
your series and what everything you've ever done, and obviously, Dad is a passion of mine and like my probably the biggest project I've ever done on the internet. So I'm always happy to talk about it, but I just don't want it to come across like I'm talking about my stuff and like, oh my
You're not, dude.
art,
Like
you
I
know?
promise you, you're not, because I am like,
Okay.
I'm probably wanting to talk about it more than you are, just because I see there's something so effective there
Yeah.
that was brushed, like the first version brushed on it, but I feel like it's sort of because of course like you can't see it through the eyes of the audience member.
Yeah.
And I think just if there was a way to do a second attempt, I think it could be done very effectively.
Yeah.
I think it would have to, in my version, like the version I have in my head that I'm seeing would be one that's like played a lot more straight, probably leans into, I don't want to say darker elements, because obviously.
Well, I like that though,
you
because
wanna have that-
I never got to fully explore the dark stuff, and that I learned my audience that found it. It was a whole new audience I never had, and they liked the dark stuff. I didn't do it that often. You know, the ominous energy is something I should explore more for sure in the Dad series. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think, the biggest stuff to me is just the nature of whatever this YouTube thing is, this super sterile corporate entity that like
Yeah.
has stilted text-to-speech voices and just feels
Yep,
very
yep,
uncanny and like very clean and corporate. I remember like one of the first ones that left the biggest impact on me was the I don't even know how to find it now. It was on like the fake YouTube channel that you had that was
the
pretending
Scarlet,
to be YouTube.
the Scarlet channel. It became
It
Scarlet's
was
channel later.
One of those, and
Yeah,
it was
called
talking
YouTube
about,
server.
yeah, and it just had, what was it?
Oh, and it had
Is
stock
is it
footage
still
of
up
YouTube.
somewhere?
Welcome to YouTube.
Yeah, stock
Here we-
footage, and it had. Did you record those voices or?
my friend did it. My friend Laura did
Yeah.
that voiceover.
Yeah,
I
but
thi-
no,
I
it
thi-
just
if
felt
that's
so...
if it's the one I'm thinking about, it was that one.
It is. It
Okay.
is. It's that one, and like that one just really felt like it's this like. Oh, it's so uncanny. It's like people who are like desperately trying to integrate with this corporate network in some way, and it just feels it's like a parasite off the
Yeah,
back of
yeah,
YouTube
for
in
sure.
some way, and it's like, how is this happening? And that was a very fascinating feeling. And then like starting like going back to like the first few videos of Dad, and then just playing it straight to the end, like keeping it very like find a grounded explanation for like everything.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's something compelling there, and we don't have to talk about it more if you don't want. I
No,
can
all
nerd
good.
about this for hours. But
Yeah, well,
maybe
we
it's
should
best to do
talk.
this
We should
brainstorming
talk
off.
after. Yeah, we're just gonna like
Recording.
write this whole series right here on this
Yeah, we don't want to
podcast
spoil
episode.
it because
Well,
It's good.
I'll probably wrap up there then. I guess this has been
All right.
a pretty great
has been
conversation.
good.
I will say. Thank you very much, Kane. We'll just call you
Thank
Kane.
you.
No, we're dropping the
Kane.
pixels and the Parsons for this episode at least. But yeah, it's an honor to have you on, and it was nice chatting
Yeah,
with you.
seriously. It was so great finally getting to talk voice to voice.
Yeah, this is our first time, and I'm not sure if that got in the recording in the earlier, but this is the first time Kane and I ever have spoken, and we've done a lot of communication via messages and file sharing. So now we're finally talking. I want to say, is there anything you want to tell anyone about my very modest audience? Would you like to tell them anything you got coming out other than what is going on your YouTube, or maybe just that Kane Pixels YouTube?
Kane Pixels YouTube, but there'll be other stuff that won't be on my channel, as I
that's
said
right,
before,
the
and you
secret
won't
stuff.
ever know it's me. And I will, even on my deathbed, I won't confess, and you'll never know.
but
it
there
might be me.
suspicions,
So like,
though, right?
It might be. Well, ideally, it won't even look like fiction. So we'll see.
Wait a sec. Okay, now this is.
We'll see how we
intriguing me.
do.
I'm gonna start
We'll
digging
see how we
around.
do.
Well,
I
everyone.
got burner computers, burner servers. There's no digital footprint. You'll never figure it out.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that's right. You are a computer whiz. You probably got your
Yeah.
footsteps covered. Kane Pixels is the YouTube channel, everybody. A genuine legend. Watch everything
Thank
he
you.
does.
You're too kind.
It's for real. He's the best. So check him out. And thanks for listening. Goodbye,
Bye, guys.